जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
According to Harvard, research says that the most asked question on a Saturday afternoon is, where's the party tonight? I have the answer. The party is right here on Cricbuzz Live. Big double-header day at the IPL, match number 11 and 12 coming up. And because it's a party here on Cricbuzz every time, we've got a mover and a shaker. Joy Bhattacharjya moves around in very powerful circles. He dabbles in multiple things. He's also referred to as the Director General. DG Saab, how are you doing on this Saturday afternoon, sir?
I'm just very powerful. I want you to know I'm very powerful. Please bear that in mind when you talk like this to me.
I'm always at my best behavior around you, sir. But big day coming up in the IPL?
Big day. And you know what I love? Because it's just early days in the IPL as yet. Teams are still forming. We are also still beginning to understand teams, get to know how they play. They are beginning to understand each other. So this is the point where I find it the most interesting. Because the drama is unfolding. Everything is not clear about the teams. It's still, it's too early days yet. But you are slowly, the story is unfolding in front of you.
And much like all 15-year-olds, we don't know how the IPL will behave going forward. As I said, mover and shaker. Why are you called Shaker? That's what Google tells me. You're called Shaker. Why?
Yeah, nickname. I actually didn't have a nickname when I first started playing. It was like Little Lise because I was the smallest one.
I love Little.
Relatable.
Yeah, but then obviously Sthalekar is a little bit of a mouthful for most people back home, and so the amount of mispronunciations of my last name over the PA whenever I'd walk out. So one day Emma Liddell, former teammate, just said Shaker. Then it's gone to shaky, to Australian form. We kind of break it down and minimise it as much as possible. But Shaker was my nickname.
There are teams that need to shake it up on the points table. But before we go to the points table, hang on. We've got to give... okay, let's do the points table. Since our graphics guy, Mr. Raju, is in a bit of a hurry, let's take a look at where these teams stand. Rajasthan have won one, lost that one game against Shikhar Dhawan's Punjab. However, if they win tonight, they go top of the table. Look at their net run rate, plus 1.675. Delhi are reeling at number 8, 2 losses into 2 deflating losses. Joy, you don't want a hat-trick of losses so early in the tournament. It's not a bad team at all. Things just haven't gone well for them.
It hasn't gone well, and their top 6, we've been talking about their top 6, and that hasn't fired. Prithvi Shaw hasn't given them runs, and because Prithvi hasn't given them runs, David Warner's never going to push the pace. Mitch Marsh has not performed for them. Riley Russo hasn't got runs. So at that top 6, Sarfraz has done nothing for them. I mean, the one match he got runs, but that was in a situation where he was getting 34 out of 30 balls. So what's happened is that very powerful top 6 we were talking about has not fired. And I think the core of that is Prithvi. Also, I don't know why Australians, their pundits must be getting it all wrong. They tend to marry at this time. So Mitch Marsh is off for a week for his wedding. 5 years back, I think Maxwell missed his match for Delhi because he was the best man at Aaron Finch's wedding. What is this about Australians marrying in April?
Why can't you get the Australian Prime Minister to ban weddings or marriages during the IPL? It's not on. Or do we build it into their contract, Joy? You know people in...
Yeah, look, I have always wanted to do stuff like that for contract. Like, brands should be allowed to tattoo some of their names out. that one should be allowed, right?
Of course.
So, this is easy. I think you should say not marriage.
Yeah, good luck dealing with the wife or the wife-to-be. That's all I can say. You guys know what it's like. Women rule the roost at home.
But if he's going to get married, why come back in a week? He's not doing justice to either.
No, he's not, to be honest. If I was his wife-to-be, I'd be a little bit annoyed. Has he helped along the way? That's what I want to know.
Exactly.
Right. Let's talk about Akshar Patel, who has been in terrific form for India.
And not getting married, which is very...
And not getting married. That's excellent prep for the IPL. But, his batting form tells us that his stock in Indian cricket is rising by the day, in Test cricket, in white ball cricket. Is there a case, Joy, for this man to bat higher up the order in this lineup?
I think he should be batting at 6. I think he should definitely be batting at 6 because, he's won a match for India in that position, batting at 7, 8. He's definitely capable of it. He's a big, strong man and he can really whack the ball. I think they're batting him too low And really, by the time he's coming on, he's having to bat with the lower order around him. It's more a rescue job than actually, performing in the match and giving his team a winnable total. And I think he should be batting up the order.
Lisa, a lot of teams seem to go in with set plans. There's so much talk about roles.
Yes.
But how much weightage should be attributed to current form? He is in sensational form, Akshar Patel.
Yeah, he is. But then you've got to go, okay, if he's been given the role of a finisher, then that's what they want to use him as. So regardless of the situation, there's certain amount of now overs that people are talking about. So it's not batting positions as in numbers. It's literally there's 6 overs left, there's 7, there's 12. I mean, we've spoken a lot about Andre Russell and when should he come in, regardless of the number, but how much time do you want to give him? I think that has to be redefined slightly. And when a guy is in form and batting well, you want to give him as many balls as possible. But then what at the detriment, given that Delhi's batting is quite poor, if you send him in too early, then are you going to potentially have an 80 all out or a 90 all out? I mean, that might be a risk that they have to take at some stage, but still it's early on in the tournament.
Right. Delhi have won the toss and they've decided to bowl first. They want to trust their batting to chase down whatever RR. It's a very, very powerful batting lineup. We have to talk about Shimron Hetmeyer as well. Similar story around him, much like Akshar Patel. Again, they're talking about him in a certain role, but if he is batting well, why not give him a few more deliveries and make up for what the top order can't? Last time, Ashwin played 4 dot balls and I suppose they might have lost the game because of those 4 dot balls.
Look, Ashwin was the first change because, they didn't know that, Butler would just injure his fingers at that point in time. But what I'm trying to say is that if you look at what Shimron Hetmeyer does for them, the way to look at it is don't look at it as batting position, because batting position is not a fair guide. Because what happens with batting positions is it could happen, you could be going in, if you're 3 down in the 5th over, who walks into bat? Now, if what they're looking for from Shimron Hetmeyer is saying that if it's after the 12th or 13th over, Hetmeyer walks in. It doesn't matter. It's the time that he gets that they want. They want him to get about 6, 7, 8 overs at maximum. That's what they feel is best stat. The ball is old. Yep. He's got the chance to. It's not about batting position. If at that point in time they were even 1 down, Hetmeyer should go in.
So, and therefore, is this temptation to send him up the order only among the fans? Because teams clearly thinking differently.
Yeah, I think so. I think the general viewer tends to look at just the numbers that are put out on all of the apps. But if you bring the numbers up again, I'd love to kind of dissect that and go, well, when he has batted at 4, how many balls did he actually face? Those numbers are impressive. Don't get me wrong, 53 strike rate of 153. So everyone's like, no brainer, put him up, right? But did he actually come in at a certain time in the match?
Exactly my point.
So I actually think potentially maybe here on Cricbuzz, our stats, we can maybe delve a little bit deeper and give that analysis of when they've come in and how many balls left.
So I'm going to go back exactly to what Lisa said. Suppose that 53 is at a situation where, for example, his team is 110 for 2 in the 12th or 13th over. It indicates 2 things. That means one is the batting team has done well up front.
No pressure.
Okay? No pressure. B, it's likely to be a good pitch.
Yep.
Okay. So when you see stats like this, especially on small numbers, remember a lot of it depends. What would be more interesting is at what point in time did he come into bat? If he came into bat in the 5th over and is consistently getting 53, then put him there.
Correct.
But if he's coming into bat in the 11th, 12th overs and getting 53 on days when, and average is again a very...
Butler and Joe Sweet.
Butler, I've been told Butler's playing tonight, so that's another conversation. But just to look at the squad, not the playing 11, we'll try and get you the 11 in just a bit. But Joy, just to look at the squad tells you that this is a team that any captain will want. They seem to have covered pretty much all bases. It's an enviable bowling lineup as well. They've got a fantastic top 3. They've got a particle middle order as well. It's just, there it is. Dhruv Jorel has been rewarded.
Wow.
No particle.
No particle. There's also Sandeep Sharma, which is good news for your man.
I said Prithvi will enjoy the kind of pace Sandeep Sharma bowls at, definitely. He might get out, but he'll really enjoy it. But that's really interesting. I think particle has gone out, and I think what they're saying is that batting out of position, he's not giving them what they have. Dhruv Jorel did in the last match. It's a brave decision, but it's a decision they needed to make. They needed to be very positive and straight in their decision. Padikkal batting out of position has not looked like the player after he being moved from opener. And face it, in this team, he does not have a place as
Is he going to feel lost in this squad then? Because if he's like, look, if I can't open, they're going to send me in at 4 where I'm out of place. I'm not even getting to play now. It's a bit harsh on him.
Well, I'll dig a little bit deeper as well. The matchup between him and Nokia, 3 out of the 4 times Nokia's picked him up. So maybe DC coaching staff have gone, hey, this isn't the game to kind of throw him in the deep end. You know, he's not performing well. Maybe we can protect him one more game, sit out. He comes back in a little bit later. I'm sure we'll see him throughout the rest of the tournament. I don't think this is the end for him unless everyone starts to fire. And then how do you change a winning formula?
You reckon Sangha would have had a chat with him or one-on-one?
Of course he would have had a chat with him. Of course, Sangha is exactly the kind of guy, even as a captain, he used to do it. He used to have a chat. He'd know, particularly know what's going wrong, why he's not playing, what needs to change for him to play. But the fact of the matter is, results count. It's as much Sangha's job on the line as it's Padikkal's position in the line. So the fact of the matter is, if they think they need to have, they feel Jurel is performing, they have to give him an opportunity, because otherwise questions will be asked. So look, face it, every captain, every selectors normally want to be kind, normally want to look after players, but not at the cost of results. I'm sorry. And I think Padikkal plays for Karnataka. He'll know the game. He'll know the score.
Lisa, you've been in that spot where you have to take tough calls and also manage players. Does it take more effort, more bandwidth to manage players who are not in the 11? And how would you deal with this conversation?
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of conversations that have to be had around coffee or breakfast or dinner or a glass of wine, whatever is their appetite, to make sure that they're in the right headspace. And that was certainly something that I tried to do when I was the mentor at the UP Warriors, is speak to the coach going, is there anyone that you think that I need to get around and have a chat? And sometimes it's those people just slightly removed from the coaching staff where the players feel that they can kind of go, oh, I'm so frustrated, I'm not getting a go, this is ridiculous. Sometimes you just need to air that frustration and then you can move on. But yeah, I think there's a lot of time spent early on and probably in the first half of the tournament making sure everyone's okay, because at some point you're going to turn to them. So they need to be in the right headspace.
DC aren't clearly in a good headspace and they've made wholesale changes. You could be a bit shocked. Caution, no Prithvi Shaw, no Sarfraz Khan. This is a Delhi bowling playing 11, remember. We will take a look at the impact subs in just a bit. But
I think Prithvi will come in. When they're batting, Prithvi will definitely come in. Prithvi is not exactly... never been mistaken for Jonty Rhodes in the field. So, and he doesn't bowl. So, clearly, I mean, Manish Pandey is a far superior fielder. So, yeah, this is their bowling 11. That's the thing that you now need to get used to, that this is the bowling 11. I'm sure Prithvi will bat for them. But I don't think, as I said, it's an interesting one. Lalit for Sarfraz is a very clear choice. And Sarfraz has got his opportunities. Lalit bats at 5 and 6, can tonk the ball, bowls a bit of off spin. They've clearly gone for him. It'll be interesting to see.
It's a fall from grace, isn't it? He was given the gloves the first game. We heard Ricky Ponting saying, well, he's our first choice. We're going to give him opportunity. Second game gone. The keeping's gone. Perel comes in. Third game out of the 11. Like,
he must be wondering what happens after the fourth game.
Exactly. Out of the squad.
It's a bit of a musical chairs, isn't it? I mean, you can't really blame the coach and the captain so much because, as you said, everyone's job is on the line.
2-0 down. If you're 3-0 down, you're already beginning to look at the end of your season. 3-0 down at the start of the season is a deadly situation. So they are desperate to win this. They are going to be really desperate.
Well, you know, at one point, the Indian spin duo of Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal were on fire for Team India. Tonight, they are going to be on opposite ends. Kuldeep Yadav for Delhi, Chahal, who's now becoming a bit of an IPL superstar, really. Both of them in different spaces mentally, Joy. Kuldeep seems to enjoy this mahal. Ricky Ponting might have told him you're going to play all 14 games. A wrist spinner, a left-arm Chinaman, is a rare quality, a rare entity, isn't it? And therefore, this guy could be crucial to Delhi's fortunes. If the batting isn't working, at least this guy will do something with the ball.
I think their spin attack is okay, and now with Nokia back, their fast bowling, their bowling is also looking a bit better. They've sorted one part of their thing. If they did, they just need to sort their batting, basically, their top order especially. But that's the point. And I think Kuldeep enjoys, because Ricky Ponting, by when his nature in his time, was a very attacking captain. I think Kuldeep is interesting because he's an attacking bowler. He's not a defensive bowler at all. He goes at you. He tries to take wickets. And that's not all spinners do that. In fact, even somebody like an Akshar Patel waits for you to make a mistake, or a Jadeja will wait for you. He'll just be so accurate, give you stump to stump, will force you to make mistakes. Kuldeep will try and get you out. And that's a difference there. And Ricky enjoys that kind of spirit because he was a bit of a mongrel himself. He liked to mix it up and go at you. And he likes bowlers like Kuldeep.
Yes, Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal. Now, Chahal's played almost more than double the number of matches that Kuldeep has. As I said, he's becoming a bit of an IPL legend, really. 171 wickets. There was a time when Shane Warne sort of brought back leg spin. He brought life to the art of leg spin bowling. And these two are sort of on the same track as well. Not the same quality. I'm not comparing them to Shane Warne. But it's so good to watch wrist spinners do well on the big stage.
Yeah, it is. And we've seen, because of Rashid Khan as well, what leg spin can do. In T20 cricket, when it first started, everyone used to say death of the spinners, but not necessarily. And because of the leg spin and the ability to bowl a wrong in and to move it both ways, you don't need to turn it big like Shane Warne did in the Test arena. These guys can be just as effective. And they're all very clever with their pace. And that's the subtle differences. Whilst they can turn it both ways, it's their subtle pace changes that cause a lot of problems.
There's also the World Cup selection question that both these players will be thinking about, Joy. There is Jadeja, Akshar Patel is doing his chances no harm at all. So it's...
Wait. I don't think Ashwin's out of it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
For a 50 over, I'm sure he's not out of it. Okay. Add to that Ravi Bishnoi. Okay. Add to that Rahul Chahar.
Wow.
Rahul Chahar is quite a bowler as well. I mean, he just hasn't had a great run in the last year or so, but he was selected for India ahead of Chahal. We are talking about just 2 years back. Bushnoi is definitely there in the India mix. He's a retained player. He's getting wickets all the time, and he's an attacking bowler again. So this is a very interesting mix. They're not just bowling; they're bowling for their India place as well.
Kuldeep Yadav enjoys Ricky Ponting's trust, and therefore I'm sure Warner's trust as well. The top three for RR batting first. There's Jos Buttler, Jaiswal, and Samson. Would you be tempted to give Kuldeep Yadav the ball in the power play? I know he's used after the power play typically, but just to mix things up a little bit, ask another kind of question to the top three. Would you say Kuldeep Yadav maybe at least 1 over in the power play?
See, Kuldeep does not normally bowl in the power play. There's a reason for it. It's because he's not the most accurate of bowlers. He takes more chances. When you have just 2 fielders outside, it's difficult. I'm not saying it's totally impossible. It's something, sometimes it's out of left field. You do something that makes a change. But generally, the guys who are power play bowlers, even if they're spinners, are very, very difficult. They'll have 2 fielders and they know the ball will only go there. The batsman, to do anything else, will have to take a risk. With Kuldeep, the way he bowls and the angles he bowls, he gives you more positions to hit. So that's the only reason I wouldn't. I'm not completely discounting it, but chances are less.
Maybe they'll hold him back for Shimron Hetmyer. That could be a matchup as well. Sanju Samson is enjoying his time with RR. This is his 10th year with the Rajasthan Royals, and he's becoming a bit of an RR superstar, RR legend really. And you know what? On cricket shows, Joy and Lisa, we use words like great sometimes, very frivolously, very loosely. But are these numbers enough to say Sanju Samson is an RR great?
He's certainly becoming that.
Yep.
I think he's the only non-opener since 21 that's scored over 1,000 runs in IPL. So that in itself is a feat of itself. And also what I've enjoyed, and I've got the numbers here, when he's captained, his numbers have gone up. So he loves leading the way. So, his average has gone up to 34. It was 27. Strike rate up to 144, was 134 when he wasn't. That's what you want your skipper to do. Now, the only thing is, I think Joy and I would agree, he needs to start converting those 40s and 50s into big totals. That's probably the next level of development for him. And if he does that, he's going to regularly score runs at the top end.
97 runs for him so far in the first 2 matches. What kind of season will break open the door for him, Sanju Samson?
I'm sorry to say, he should already be playing for India far more consistently than he is. He's a class act. In the first 6-7 years of his career, he was frustrating because he'd play these magical shots. He plays the kind of shots he plays, very few people in Indian cricket play those shots. And then he'll hit something, he'll just make such a bad choice and you'll wonder and you'll curse yourself. From those 300 pluses, flattering to deceive, he's moved to the next level, 400 plus. Also taken responsibility. I loved it. the way he was batting with Josh Butler even last year, saying that, okay, when Butler's going, he's holding back, he's not going out to hit and take chances. He's not trying to compete with Butler because he knows Butler is doing the job. He's taking the singles, giving the strike. So I think he's pushed his game one more level. Sanju Samson not playing for India is a travesty of justice. At this point in time, Sanju Samson should definitely be in the mix. I don't know what he needs to do. Forget about everything. He should already be playing for India. But as I said, another 450, 500 run season won't hurt.
He's averaging 300 almost every season. Lisa, 500 plus should do the job for him?
Yeah, but then who does he come in for? I mean, that's the thing. That's what the selectors will say.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know about Shreyas. So.
No, we are also talking about, again, the 50-over game. Sanju in the 20-over game is a lock for me. I feel that, perhaps Rohit and all have had their opportunities. It's time for that 20-over game to move on. And I feel he's definitely one of them.
Yes, the other thing that's happened in this match is one impact sub call that really almost worked for our Dhruv Jurel. He almost won the game. They fell short by 5 runs against Shikhar Dhawan's Punjab Kings. Now, he's been given a go. That's sending a message across to the others as well, saying if you grab that big opportunity, you could well be in the playing 11.
Absolutely, and I think he did fantastically. In fact, Lisa and me were discussing whether Yash Dhal will get an opportunity for DC, given the fact that he's also had a terrific season. He's the Mushtaq Ali highest scorer, just ahead of Prithvi Shaw, who I promise you will bat. He may not field, which is not really the biggest loss to DC, but he'll definitely bat.
For you, Dhruv Jurel, great story?
Yeah, I think it's a great story. And it actually acknowledges the impact player and what that has allowed. And we said, I think yesterday we were talking about the impact player has really opened up the door for a lot of Indian domestic players just to be given that opportunity. As Joy was saying last night, it's the 6th or 7th bowling option, or it's your 8 or 9 batter. So they've all of a sudden been given that chance to really show what they can do without having too big a role. The impact player will come off every now and again, but he's certainly taken his opportunity and now he walks into the playing 11, which is a great story.
Right. Anrik Nortje is another story. He will have the new ball in his hands because Delhi have won the toss. They are bowling first. Delhi need a win desperately. Amongst players playing today, Nortje leads the charge really. Most wickets for Delhi since 2020. Once again, the South Africans, they come in. He's been playing international cricket. He comes in and he's expected to straight away hit the ground running. Lisa, he seems like the kind of bowler who can trouble the top 3 with pure pace on this pitch where they say there are a lot of runs on offer.
Yeah, 2 for 39 when he just got off the plane really, and it was that extra pace that he harnessed and was able to upset batters at the top, and he'll look to do the same thing. He'll nibble the ball around. He may go a little bit short, but I like that he gets it fuller whilst the ball is new and hard and lets the seam or the pitch or the conditions play a role as well. But that extra pace is an absolute asset.
Now, the same pitch, it is a centre pitch that's being used in Guwahati today. 65 meter boundaries on either sides. They say it's a darker coloured pitch, I suppose a bit of moisture as well, which Anrik Nortje might want to exploit. But his kind of pace might actually work to RR's advantage. Butler will like the ball coming on nicely as well.
It does. But you take that chance. You have somebody of the quality that he has, you take that chance. He's going to go for a bit. Because, even edges, all those fly in conditions like that. But there's nothing you can do about it. You know that if he gets you a couple of wickets up front. See, remember again, for whatever we say, Rajasthan is top heavy.
Yep.
It's just top 3. So everyone's saying, knock 2 of those top 3 down and you've got a chance against these guys. Whatever, Dhruv Jurel's had one good match. But, and Hetma has been doing well for them. But they'd still say, get into the top 3 early and Rajasthan is vulnerable.
Let's discuss DC's bowling plan or bowling game plan against the top 3. Let's ask Lisa to give us a bowling plan for the first 6 overs.
Could we? Yeah, we should put up the
team.
sheet
I need the team. I can't remember who's in what side all the time.
There's Mukesh Kumar's playing. There is Khalil Ahmed. Then there is Anrik Nortje, Kuldeep Yadav. Lots of options there.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to go Khalil and Anrik, and then your Mukesh as well. Maybe potentially Aksar and Kuldeep soon after the power play, but you may want to try 1 over a spin within the power play.
Aksar to tempt Sanju. He doesn't really flight the ball too much, but how do you see this matchup between Aksar and Sanju Samson?
Oh, look, I think spin, and Sanju is very good against spin. So he's very good with his feet, and he does go over the top and through the offside. So it is going to be tempting if he can cramp him up. You know, and Aksa has the ability to kind of undercut the ball every now and again and cramp up right-handed batters. So if he can kind of go around that middle to leg stump line, he might be able to skid one through LBW, something along those lines.
Lots of options for the Rajasthan boys for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but also the only danger that DC has, and I think this is one of the problems that they're having in this tournament, they don't have a death bowler. And Mukesh Kumar bowls, and I've been having long chats with Manoj Tiwari, absolutely fantastic story. If you know the story, he started off, he didn't have shoes, he just comes to a camp which Waqar Yunus is holding, and he just begs for one ball. And Waqar's getting out, he says, okay, I'll give you a ball. So he bowls one ball, the guy looks at him and says, call him back tomorrow because I think he should make it. Goes, makes it, he's so thin, he has no skin and bones, he's no money. They keep him in a place within the Eden Gardens clubhouse. They feed him, they give him good equipment. The Ronodev Bose, the Bengal bowling coach, works with him. Bengal captain Manoj Tiwari works with him. Arun Lal works with him. The guy goes on, and now he was playing India A.
Yeah.
Great story. He would have been in the Indian squad. So he's a fantastic story. But the only problem is he's not by nature a death bowler. He swings it up front. He has good movement of the seam. Very controlled bowler. But who's your death bowler? And if you're holding Nokia 2 back, that's really not what you want to do with your, because he can't be both your breakthrough bowler and your death bowler.
So who's your best bet then? Let's take a look at the Delhi
So Khalil Ahmed will bowl a bit.
Yeah, Khalil Ahmed will bowl. Who else? Because it's a tricky one. It is a hole that they will need to
So
figure out
last
how to
time they
deal with.
threw the ball to Mukesh, but Mukesh is not a death bowler. In fact, I'd be tempted to even try Rovman Powell in the death. Just he can put in those Yorkers and try and just put it in, because I don't think Mukesh is naturally a death bowler.
But when was the last time Rovman Powell bowled? I reckon it's a while ago. So big call.
That is a big call. Yeah, exactly.
And RR will keep coming at them because that lineup is relentless. Shimron Hetmeyer is a huge threat, and that contest between Hetmeyer and Kuldeep Yadav will be interesting to watch as well. The ball going away from Hetmeyer, the left-hander. How do you see that matchup, Lisa? Tactically, how do you think Kuldeep should bowl at Hetmeyer?
I think you could almost, dart a few in and then throw your toss up your wider one, because I think Shimron Hetmeyer is the type of guy that sees the ball in the air, his eyes light up, and he starts dancing down and he wants to hit you out of the park. He goes hard, which means he's going to create opportunities. You may go for runs, and I think you need to accept that as a bowler, especially on a decent track, that sometimes your best delivery is going to go out of the park, but you just need to kind of back your skill sense and just make subtle changes.
Who are the impact sub options for both these teams? Let's take a look. No Prithvi Shaw in the playing 11. Remember, Delhi bowling first. Yeah, Prithvi Shaw is there.
Look at you, you're like, you thought he said no, Prithvi Shaw. You panicked.
I said, how could it be? I mean, Rajasthan is interesting. Navdeep Saini is an option definitely for them. But interesting that they also have Murugan Ashwin, because that means that they're not quite sure how this pitch is going to go.
This came Asif as well.
But Asif, again, when you've not given him the ball, you've given Sandeep Sharma the ball, the odds that he'll come in ahead should be, it's unlikely. But Ashwin, Murugan Saini, both are interesting prospects. Let's see where they go from here.
Saini's pace could help as well. So Delhi most likely gets Prithvi Shaw in or Sarfraz, depending on.
I'd be very surprised if it's not Prithvi Shaw.
Yeah.
And he'll enjoy batting against Sandeep Sharma.
I think he'll enjoy batting. And he could get out as well. Again, this is the thing. It's like Shimron Hetmeyer. He loves playing spin because he can really whack it hard. But he gets out as well. So whenever guys like that, their eyes light up, they're also giving you a chance. They're going to jump at you. They miss a ball, get stumped. Anything can happen.
It's 3:29. What happens on IPL days? 3:29. Joy factor. Sir, over to you.
Okay. Which Indian cricketer made his T20 international debut in a match with 3 other debutants, one of whom was captain in his very first match?
Wow. Eerie silence in the Cricbuzz live studio.
I think Lisa knows who.
You do?
Anyway, I'll leave it there.
No nails left. That's what Joy's questions
Joy,
do to us. What's easier to answer is, well, it's Tukka time. Hashtag Tukka time on Cricbuzz Live. First inning score. Ara batting first.
Right. Sorry, what?
She got a bit rattled because of that question.
First inning score. 173.
Okay, conservative.
Okay, first I'm writing a petition to the Lucknow curators. You can't do this to us. You give us a pitch, we make all these big score assumptions and look like idiots.
This is Guwahati.
Please let us know when the pitch changes. So now it's Guwahati.
Yeah.
If they're being good boys, I'm not sure if they're good boys. If they're good boys, I will say 185.
I'm going to go with 201. I like that number already. 201, big batting day. I like the Royals. I like Delhi too, but I like the Royals a little bit more because of the color of their outfit. We have our own reasons. And you got a reason to come back to Cricbuzz at the 10 over mark, where myself and one of these two will do a toss. We don't know who's going in for the first innings.
It's,
Depends on the curator.
it's normally me.
It depends on the curator though.
Okay, we'll check. We'll check. That curator, who's called Mr. Sarkar, he decides who goes in at the 10 over mark. Do join us on Cricbuzz Combox at the end of the 10 over mark.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत लखनऊ जंक्शन
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad Superfast Express, Boloboti Station, Netaji Bhavan. कृपया ध्यान दें